Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namini Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvisheshai Shunyavadi Paschata Deshatharini Jayo Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, and welcome all the devotees to the level 2 Bhagavad Gita classes from ISKCON Mangaluru. So, yesterday we started Jnana Yoga, isn't it? So, we started with chapter 13. Yeah. So wherein again it started with Arjuna's question, right? So he wanted the answers about 6 things, isn't it? Anyone remembers what were those 6 things? At least one or two. Yesterday we discussed 2 things. Did I mute everyone though? No, isn't it?
No, Prabhuji, I'm just thinking. He
Yes.
asked about Prakriti, Purusha, Kshetrajna, Jnanam, and Niyam.
Yeah. So those were the 6 items, and yesterday we covered about Kshetra and Kshetrajna. Okay. So we saw that there were different sections wherein the discussions were there. The Kshetra is the knower of the body, isn't it? And Kshetrajna is the field, right? And then we took the example of the field and then the toys, right? So of a small child, isn't it? For the child, so he's the knower, and then for him the field is the playing toys. Okay. And then further, uh, Krishna actually said that all these informations are being given by the rishis, right? So these things are even endorsed. So he gave references saying that even in Vedanta Sutra you can find these things, isn't it? And then so we went into the 20 qualities, which that is Jnanam. Yeah, so we touched Jnanam. So wherein Krishna says that the 20 qualities which he discussed, right? So like humility, pridelessness, right? So the list was there. So if so, that is the knowledge, and apart from this, anything else apart from that is ignorance, isn't it? So even Prabhupada has written a very lengthy purport for this, right? So you all can go through, right? So that's the place where we stopped yesterday. So today we'll continue to journey with the Jnayam, okay? And then say Prakriti, Purusha, and then the Chakshu, so the divine Chakshu, okay? Uh, so that's the theme which we'll be covering. Sorry, Jnana Chakshu, not divine Chakshu, but this is Jnana Chakshu, okay? The vision of knowledge. So until yesterday we covered this, we'll cover these 3 sections today, okay? Yeah, and then our field is with this 24 elements also. This is also we covered yesterday, isn't it? And then this is the list of 20 items. So apart from this, whatever it is ignorance. Okay. The Lord says in. Okay. So now we'll come to section D. Okay. So now in this particular section, so this the Lord actually gave the details about the Nyayam. Okay, Gnayam, sorry. So which is nothing but the knowable. Okay. Jnaya is nothing but soul and super soul. Yesterday we even touch base this, isn't it? So there are two types of things, right? So the soul and super soul, isn't it? So in this chapter, right? So we'll now in this next couple of verses, right? So we'll be actually looking about the soul and super soul. Okay. So this is the object of knowledge is Gnaya. So what is that? To understand the soul and super soul. Okay. So this is Gnaya. So we saw Jnanam, we saw Kshetra, we saw Kshetrajna. Next we'll see Prakriti and Purusha. Okay. So we'll go to Gnaya. And then these verses are covered from 13 to 19. Okay. So he says, I shall now explain the knowable knowing which you will taste. The eternal Brahman, the spirit beginningless and subordinate to me, lies beyond the cause and effect of this material world. Okay. So the stress is on soul and super soul. Okay, to be known. Yeah. So basically, and then even we saw, right? So yesterday we saw the five different koshas, isn't it? So wherein say the Annamaya, Annamaya, Pranamaya, right? So in that Anandamaya is the highest perfection, isn't it? So what is the benefit? So benefit of knowing the knowable is one can release the nectar of life. Okay. So by knowing this knowledge, so what will happen? So you'll release the nectar of the life. Okay. And then we'll see through what Krishna takes us in the next verse. Okay. So he says, Sarvata pani padam tat sarvato akshi siromukham sarvata shrutimaloke sarvam avaritya tishtati. So now he says that, so there are many. Okay, so in this particular verse, right, he says, Sarvatra, everywhere. Okay. So pani means hands, padam means legs. Okay. And again, Akshi means eyes. Okay. Shera is heads, Mukham faces. Okay. So Sarvam, okay. Everywhere are his hands and legs, his eyes, heads and faces, and he has ears everywhere. In this way, the super soul exists, pervading everything. Okay. So the super soul. So now we yesterday even saw the example of the knower, right? So the soul only knows the soul's area of interest is the body, right? So where it resides. But super soul is present in all the living entities, isn't it? So that's the reason it says that it has got so many hands, so many legs, so many eyes, right? So it is like the sun, right? So because we know, right, the Paramatma actually is from the tiniest ant to Lord Brahma. So in all the things we have the super soul, isn't it? So and say it is like the sun, isn't it? So though sun is one, but it is present everywhere in the nook and corner of the world, isn't it? So in similar way, so the Paramatma is one, but is pervading all through the living entities. Okay. So, and this is not possible. So, most of the people say there are few people who say that soul and super soul are one. So it cannot be, isn't it? So, super soul is many, 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 which is unlimited, isn't it? And then soul is actually confined to our own body. Okay. And then, so the other thing is, if we look in, right, so the conditioned soul, right? So basically the individual soul is conditioned, isn't it? So with when it comes with the interaction with the material nature, so it becomes conditioned, but the supreme doesn't have this problem. Okay, right? And then the other thing is the Lord, isn't it? So whatever we offer, the Lord even accepts it, isn't it? So that's the omnipotence of the Lord. Yeah. Yeah. So here, this is the question of Gnayam. Okay. Super soul is all pervading. Super soul has this be covered. Okay. And then, and this was described the super soul not as the living entity. See, that's what we say, right? So individual soul cannot actually extend. Yeah. I think that's already covered. So we'll go to the next. So the super soul is the original source of all senses. Yet he is without senses. He is unattached. Okay. Although he is the maintainer of all living beings, he transcends the modes of nature, and at the same time he is the master of all modes of material nature. So this is about Paramatma. Okay. So Paramatma is the source of all the senses, isn't it? So what is it? Says Rishikesha, isn't it? So he is the owner. Yeah. So he is actually present here and then he is present far, far away also, isn't it? Yeah, this is the category. Okay. The Supreme Lord and the living entity does not have material senses. Our senses has spiritual senses but covered over by matter. So this is nothing but Mahamaya. So right, we are dwindling in Maya, isn't it? So transcendental, uncontaminated senses. So the Lord is Nirguna, isn't it? So the but we are contaminated. Okay. So example, no legs like us, but he can travel throughout the space by spiritual legs. So we need not actually think of because our vision is everything material, right? So we think because we have seen that, so we know that okay, if there is a form of leg, say then we'll actually think of whatever we have seen, right? So in the material world, so but so those things are not same in the transcendental world. So those are different, isn't it? So the Lord actually impregnates the whole material nature with his eyes. So that's all different. Okay. So the Supreme Lord knows the past, present, and future. So living entities ignorant. The Lord appears by his internal potency, but we appear by our own karma. So what was our desires, right? So what kind of desires we had, and then what kind of work we did it in our last life, right? So based upon that, we get a body, isn't it? So somebody may get an opulent body in a good family. Someone may be born in a poor family. So it's all our previous karmas. So maintainer, witness, proprietor of wealth does not possess any such attributes. So the supreme truth exists both internally and externally and in moving and non-moving. He is beyond the power of material senses to see or to know. Although far, far away, he is also near to all. So this is the thing. Okay. I was actually jumping the gun in the previous verses, but that has come here. So he is there everywhere. He's pervading all through, right? So he's there in Golok Dham. Okay. And then uh, so if the pure devotees, right, so if they offer something or say they do anything, right? So which pleasures the God, the Lord will actually come in, right? So when he says patram pushpam phalam toyam, right? So he means that whatever we offer, he'll accept. So the Lord will accept it. Okay. So it's not that if we offer with pure devotional service, right, the Lord will offer. And it's been said that so wherever there is the Harinam done, right? So, and then so wherever the devotees are having congregations and then say they do the Sankirtan, bhajans, and all those things, right? It is said that the Lord comes in. Okay. So that's the thing. So though he lives there, right? So he can come. Take the example of Draupadi, right? So when in the assembly, Duryodhana was trying to disrobe her, right? So what happened? At that time, Lord Krishna was with Rukmani somewhere else. So he was at least, if we will think, right? So he was in Dwaraka, right? And then this incident happened in Hastinapur. So within seconds, he was present there, isn't it? And then even we know the example of Uttara, so Parikshit Maharaj. So Parikshit Maharaj was in the womb, and Lord Krishna was standing there in front of them. But when the Brahmastra came, so he was in the womb. So that's the thing, right? So we cannot actually think in our material senses. The Lord is inconceivable, right? So he went and protected uh, the rays of Brahmastra, isn't it? So though he was among them only, so he was example is he was there and then he was in the womb also, right? So that's the thing. So after this after although the super soul appears to be divided among all beings, he's never divided. Okay, so this is the example of the sun which I was giving in, right? He's situated as one because it looks to be like there are different people and different species, right? So in every species there is super soul existing, right? So one may think that the super soul is divided, right? But he is situated as one, and then he is maintaining all entities, isn't it? So we have seen in the past chapters also. Although he is the maintainer of every living entity, it is to be understood that he devours and develops all, right? So he is the maintainer, right? He is the creator, and then we know that he is the destructor also. So, and after destruction, what happens? We all actually go back to him only, isn't it? To the Mahavishnu, right? So, in the abdomen of the Mahavishnu, so everything will go away after the indentation. Okay. So, the example of sun is apt here, isn't it? So, wherein if you look in, right, sun is one, right? And then across the globe, right? Say all the countries will actually look at the sun, isn't it? So now we are not able to see the sun. So does that mean that sun is not there? Sun is there. So the US region, right? So they can see the sun now, isn't it? The sun is same. Okay. So he is omnipotent. Okay. So he can actually expand in any forms he can, right? And then in chapter 11 also we saw, right? He said, I am Kalosmi, isn't it? So I am the diva of so I'm I'm the time, isn't it? So I have come to devour all in the form of time, isn't it? He says, Kalosmi. When Arjuna asks, say, who are you? Isn't it? So again, we'll see the next verse. So again, it's all the description of the super soul. Okay. Yeah. So this is what the thing which we covered in. Super soul is one, but you see, he's one, but he's present everywhere. Okay. So I think this picture gives more um, easy information, isn't it? Yeah. Jyotishamapi tajyotish tamasa paramuchyate jnanam jneyam jnana gamyam hidi sarvasya vishtitam. So he is the source of light in all luminous objects. Okay, so here luminous objects are what? Sun and moon. He is beyond the darkness of matter. Okay, tamasa is nothing but beyond darkness of matter and is unmanifested. He is knowledge. He is the object of knowledge and he is the goal of knowledge. He is situated in everyone's heart. So basically, he is the source of all luminous objects, right? And then the super soul, okay, is the source of all moons and stars, okay. And then he is the knowledge. So is nothing but the transcendental knowledge. His knowledge is transcendental, okay, and he is in everyone's heart. So the Lord is present in everyone's heart. So we have heard this in the previous chapter, isn't it? So those things are being confirmed here once again. Yeah. The super soul is the source of all lights in the luminous objects. Okay, he is situated in everyone's heart. He is the knowledge, object of knowledge, and goal of knowledge. So our ultimate goal is this one, right? The super soul is beyond the darkness and matter and and is unmanifested. So that we know that the Lord is self-effulgent, isn't it? So he's always having light. Okay, so that's the reason, right? So when in the upper planetary system, they don't need the sun and electricity. So it is all required to us only because we are covered with Maya. Yeah, yeah. I think this is the same thing. Thus, the field of activity, the body, the knowledge, and the knowable have been s- summarily described by me. Only my devotees can understand this thoroughly and thus can attain me. Okay. So this is what. So basically, Kshetrajna we know, right? So this is the field of activities. Knower of this soul and super soul is Kshetrajna. And then Gnayam is object of knowledge. So this is what the knowledge is what? Knowing about the soul and super soul. And Jnana is the knowledge and the process of acquiring knowledge. So this we actually went through, and right? So wherein verses 8 to 12, right? And then what is knowledge? So knowledge means understanding oneself in Krishna consciousness and realizing Krishna in everything. Okay. So knowledge is nothing but preliminary stage of understanding devotional service perfectly. Okay, so that is Jnanam. Vijnanam is what? Knower, knowable, and the process of knowing is the science of knowledge or Vijnana. So knower and knowable is nothing but knowing about the soul and the super soul. Yeah. So now at least we have a fair understanding, right? Showing that soul and super soul are two different things. Soul is pervading all throughout the living entities. It is one, isn't it? So it is in Paramatma, right? And then we will see through. So in the next verses also, right? We'll see how he acts as the Chaitya Guru. So if we have Ananya Bhakti, right? So that's what happened to Lord Brahma, isn't it? So when he was born out of this low navel, isn't it? So from the navel of lotus navels, he was born. And then first couple of years, some thousands of years, he didn't knew what to do, right? So and then when he meditated, then he got the instructions from internally, right? So that's from Paramatma, from the Chaitya Guru, he got the all the instructions, isn't it? Because he didn't have any, because he was the first born, right? So he was all instructed within. Yeah. So now we'll look at Prakriti Purusha and their union. Okay. So now, okay, material nature and the living entity should be understood to be beginningless, right? Their transformation and the modes of material on the modes of matter are products of material nature. So both Prakriti and the Jiva or the soul, okay. So both are beginningless is what has been mentioned in this verse, okay. So the reason is both are eternal, okay. So we know, right? So we have actually gone through the verses, right? So wherein so we know that the soul is eternal and then it is ever uh, it is eternal and then it changes the body, right? So it never dies, isn't it? So only the body is something which actually lives in and then which falls apart, but the soul actually traverses to the other thing, okay. You see, so both living entity and material nature are eternal, okay. Material nature is eternal, although specific manifestations of matter are temporary, okay. Living is entity is eternal because of being Lord superior energy, right? So we are part of the Lord, so that's the reason. So qualitatively we are same but not quantitatively. We are a small tiny spark of him, isn't it? So that's the reason the soul is eternal, okay. Differences in material nature, there is constant transformation, whereas the nature of living entity is non-changing. So here the soul, okay, soul is non-changing, other things change. So mystery of material nature. So material nature is absorbed in the supreme personality of Godhead, Mahavishnu, and whenever required it is manifested. So we know, right? So whenever there is creation, so the Lord actually creates it, and whenever he has to annihilate, he brings it back. Okay. So depending upon what kind of desires we had pre- before the indentation, we'll get similar body. The living entity also gets absorbed in Mahavishnu, you see. So we all enter into the abdomen of Mahavishnu. And with the coming of the material nature, they are given a chance to prepare to go back to the Godhead. And then say why actually we are here. So this is the question which everyone asks, right? So we are all the children of God. So why have we been fallen into this material world? The reason is we were rebellious. So we actually wanted to enjoy, right? So we wanted to enjoy the material nature, right? So we wanted to lord it. So that's the reason the Lord has sent to this place within um, say within a remit, okay, wherein say if you want to lord it, so then you can lord it and then go to lower planetary systems. So if you don't want, you have a choice. So you can actually reform yourself, and then because you have seen through the pains here, and then you can actually go back. So what does the Lord focus on in the scriptures? So living entities are attracted by material nature, right? Is undergoing an hard struggle for existence. That we know, isn't it? So as far as super spirit soul is concerned, living entities are all the same, and all transformations and varieties are due to the body. Okay. So nature is said to be the cause of all material activities and effects. So whereas the living entity is the cause of various sufferings and enjoyments in this world. Okay. So here it has been said that nature is said to be the cause. Okay. So these are nothing but the different manifestations. Okay. And whereas the living entity is the cause of various sufferings, because we are actually suffering due to our past desires and activity, isn't it? So the material nature, isn't it? So is actually offering us 8.4 million species. Okay, so these are due to the different desires which we have. Okay, so different bodies, isn't it? So have been given within those species, because depending upon that body, isn't it? So we can actually be a dog, right? So and then so we may be an devata, right? So we may be an human, isn't it? So it all depends. So and then once we are fit in into that particular category, isn't it? So that's the law of nature, right? So once we are in the body of dog, then we'll start barking. So barking is our law of nature, isn't it? And then we'll behave accordingly. Okay. So all these things are decided depending upon our past desires. Okay. So for that, the prakriti actually arranges it. So it gives the material nature gives us that thing. Okay. So the next, so Purusha Prakriti Stohi Bhunkte Prakriti Jan Gunan Karanam Gunasango Asya Sad Asat Yoni Janmasu. The living entity in material nature thus follows the ways of life. Okay, so this is what we spoke, right? So the nature actually gives us the different varieties. Okay, so wherein we are fitted, and then depending upon that, whatever body will actually gain in it. So we actually go into that. So like if we are in the body of a hog, then we'll start eating stools and then say whatnot. So enjoying the three modes of nature, this is due to his association with that material nature. Thus he meets with good and evil amongst various species. Okay. So this is what, isn't it? So this is what desire to enjoy forges the bond between Purusha and Prakriti. Okay. So the living entity follows the way of life according to the three modes. Okay, so whatever we like in, right? Association with the material nature leads to different good and evils. So this is given. Yeah. So this we know, isn't it? Transmigration. So we have seen through, so right? Dehino asmin yatha dehe kaumaram yavanam jara, isn't it? And then desire to lord over put him in undesirable circumstances, sometimes born as a demigod, sometimes born as a beast, sometimes as a bird, sometimes as a bug. Okay, so that's the problem. So the kind of desires we have, so we get that kind of body. Desire to enjoy forges the bond between Purusha and Prakriti. Yeah. So this is basically, see, what is the binding factor? This is nothing but the association with the three modes. Okay. And then we even know, right? So Devi Yesha Gunamaya, Mamamaya Duratya. The Lord says that. So this is very difficult to overcome. But if you do devotional service, then you can overcome. So so this is what the answer is also here, isn't it? So how this change can be affected? So by hearing from authority. So again, so here also the importance of Shravanam is being discussed, right? So the example of Arjuna is being given in the purport. So Prabhupada gives the example of Arjuna. So Arjuna, so when the battle started, so he was actually in the bodily conception, and then he was very attached, right? And then initially he said that he is not interested to fight, isn't it? But after listening to Bhagavad Gita, he actually fought, isn't it? So, so that's the thing, right? So here it is being said. If living entity submits to hearing process, he loses his long cherished desire to dominate gradually. Okay. So if we start listening to Shravanam, if we do proper Shravanam, right? So we'll actually get out of the entanglement of this material world, right? So we'll slowly get released from Maya, and then we'll lose interest in this the mundane things. Okay, so it's not that we are completely will move out, but slowly we'll phase out unnecessary things. At least they'll move off. Okay. So yet in this body there is another a transcendental enjoyer. Okay, so this is about the soul transmigrates, and then the example, the next verse it says that in the same body there is another transcendental enjoyer who is the Lord, the supreme proprietor, who exists as the overseer, permitter, and who is known as the super soul. So we know this thing, right? So we actually read this. So wherein there is an the soul desires, isn't it? And then the nature arranges for it, and then who endorses? The Lord, right? And the reason is because we have adamant so desires. That's the reason the Lord actually says he permits it. Okay. So the sanctioning capacity is with whom? With the Paramatma only, isn't it? The example, if you all recollect the example of eating an ice cream for a child, right? So he actually, the father says that this is not good, right? Eating ice cream is not good. And then, but the child is adamant. And then he says that he needs it. What does he do? So he gives money to his mother and then says that buy for him. So let him suffer. So in that way. So here, right? So this relationship between the living entity, right? So this is Purusha and actual Purusha and Paramatma. So we are also small Purushas, but we are actually confined to our material body. So we are not the actual Purusha. The only Purusha is Krishna. Okay. Because he is the enjoyer. So rest all male, female, whatever it is all, right? So we are not Purushas. He is the only one Purusha. Okay. He is the enjoyer, and then we are the enjoyed. So the thing is, we are subordinate, and then he is master. So there is only one thing. Okay. So the second type of Purusha, he is never entangled like the ordinary Purusha. So we are the small Purusha for our body, but he is the actual Purusha for the whole thing. The supreme proprietor oversees and permitter. So he is the one. He is transcendental enjoys and he is known as the super soul, isn't it? So, so this is what Shankha, this is Shankha Chakra, right? So, and then Gada and Padma. So, living entity is eternally part and parcel of the supreme personality of Godhead. So, this we know, and then we'll see in Purushottam Yoga, so chapter 15, wherein the Lord will say that Mamai Vamsha Jaiva Loka, okay, Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. So, those things will come in. So, and then he is the only friend, okay. And so we did see Bhoktaram, all those things we have seen through, isn't it? So living entity is marginal entity. So yesterday Mataji was asking, isn't it? So we are marginal entity because we have the tendency to choose, isn't it? So Lord as the supreme is the well-wisher. Okay, so he's our well-wisher. Okay, he always stays with us, and then he actually is looking forward how we can actually take the souls back to Godhead. Okay. So, and yeah, so this is one thing, right? Few of them think that the knower of the body is one. Okay. So for them, the super soul and the individual soul is one, but it is not, isn't it? Because the Lord says that he is represented by Paramatma in everybody. Okay, so he's Para. And then super soul is present not as the infinite enjoyer like the individual soul, but as a witness, sourcer, and permitter. So he doesn't enjoy. So we even uh, learned this, right? So there are two birds, isn't it? One bird is eating the fruit, the other bird is watching it. So he is the maintainer and then he is the overseer. So he witnesses it. Yeah. And then super soul is bhokta and individual soul is bhukta. Okay. He is the maintainer and we are the maintained ones. Okay. One who understands this philosophy concerning material nature, the living entity, and the interactions of the modes of nature is sure to attain liberation. He will not take birth here again, regardless of his present position. So, if one understands this philosophy, okay, so all these things, right? Soul is different, super soul is different. So, why the soul is suffering in this material bodies, and then how we can get rid of it, right? So, how the nature is working, right? So on whose direction. So if you know all this knowledge, right? So he says that it will be, he'll not take birth here again, but that should be, and then not only knowing this knowledge, but we'll have to do some bhakti also, according. Okay. So one who understands the philosophy concerning material nature, living entity, and the interactions of this nature is sure to attain liberation. So you can get liberation, but the thing is, we'll have to do bhakti also. The knowledge of truly understanding the relationship. So this is what it is covered. Okay, that's all. Okay, yeah. So we'll see in this 26, right? Again, the Lord will actually tell about bhakti. Okay, and then he'll say that bhakti is the easiest and best way to understand the science. Okay, so this verse is basically he gives the applies for our current generation or the current society, say where we are living in, right? So our, because we have most of the atheists and philosophical philosophers, right? So but they don't have the actual knowledge of philosophy. Yeah? So anyat anyate eva evam ajnata श्रुतवनियेभ्य उपासते ते अपि चाति चातित्रयन्त एव मृत्युं श्रुति Parayanah. So he says again, there are those who, although not conversant in spiritual knowledge, begin to worship this supreme person upon hearing about him from others. So this is what we are doing in, isn't it? Because of the tendency to hear from authorities, they also transcend the path of birth and death. So we can also do that. Okay. So but we should have fixed devotional service. Okay. So here the process is also been described. So bhakti is the easiest path. Okay. So how does this apply to the modern society? Okay. So in modern society, there is practically no education in spiritual matters, isn't it? So yesterday Subra Mataji was saying that so nobody teaches these qualities in our schools. So none of the qualities are being taught, isn't it? Which is apt. So that's the reason some people become atheistic, some people are agnostic, some people are philosophical, but actually they have no knowledge of philosophy. Okay, that's the reason what to. So the qualification is anyone, any common man, if he's a good soul, has a chance of advancing in the process of hearing. So the only thing you'll have to do is hearing, isn't it? So Shravanam is again stressed, right? So only by hearing from authority and especially hearing the Maha Mantra, right? So that purifies our heart. So that's the thing, right? So for this age, for Kali Yuga, that's the medicine, isn't it? And then learns to become so once, and then he actually gets the Guru Sadhu Sangha, isn't it? So all these things. One gives up the endeavor to know the absolute truth by speculative reasoning and learn, right? And learns to become servant of those in knowledge of Supreme Lord. So what is the benediction? If one takes advantage of hearing from realized souls, so from Guru, okay, gradually understands everything, automatically leads to Supreme Lord's worship. Okay, so what is the benefit of it? So if we hear, right, and then if we chant and hear, so chanting and hearing will cleanse our heart. And then if we hear the Shastras, the Shastras will give us the guidance what to do. And then so in the current day and age, what to do? How do we actually imbibe those Shastras? The Guru will actually guide us. So, what is the conclusive advice? By good fortune, take shelter of pure devotees, hear from him, and follow his footsteps. Thus, gradual elevation to pure devotion. Thus, gradually elevate to pure devotional service. So, that's the thing. Okay. So, in one way or the other, you are all fortunate. Not you, even me. We are all fortunate. Okay. So, next is the vision of knowledge. Okay. This is Jnana Chakshu. So Jnana Chakshu is the one who can see super soul, living entities, and material nature in their proper perspectives. Sees through the eyes of knowledge. Okay. This is important. So one who can see the super soul, living entities, and material nature in their proper perspective. Okay. So we should be able to see Paramatma. So when we see the other person, right? So we shouldn't look at the body at his designation or so the living conditions of the person, right? If someone is handicapped, someone is ugly, someone is, say, in a lower species, if someone can look every entity as a super soul, right? So then I think that's a different Jnana Chakshu. Okay. O Chief of Bharata, whatever you see in existence, both moving and unmoving, is only the combination of the field of activities and the knower of the field. So, so whatever we see in the existence, right? So, chara and achara. So basically, okay, is only the combination of matter, okay, and the spirit, okay. So, spiritually realized person can distinguish between spirit and matter in all circumstances. So, it's the combination, okay. So, the combination of matter and spirit. So, whatever we are seeing, okay. So, we are in the prison, okay. The verse explains that all species are combination of material nature and living entity. Nothing can grow without the touch of superior being. So who is that? Paramatma, isn't it? So even so, look the example, right? So our body is actually taking so many shapes. How? Because we have got the consciousness, which is the soul, right? So, but if you look some matter, right? Say like the chair or anything, so it will not grow, isn't it? The combination is affected by both Supreme Lord, controller of both superior and inferior energy. Okay, so that's the combination. So one who sees the super soul accompanying the individual soul in all bodies and who understands that the soul nor the super soul is ever destroyed actually sees. Okay. So this knowledge should be known, isn't it? So it's not that so when the body is finished, the soul is also finished. No. So the actual jnana is of someone who can actually think of, who can see that so the soul and super soul are not destroyed, so they are not being affected with these things, isn't it? So these are discussed in detail, right? So how is this vision actually possible? So it is only possible when we have good association. Okay. One who sees the indestructible super soul always accompanying the indestructible individual soul in all bodies is the actual seer. Okay. So who is the man in real knowledge? One who can see three things in proper: the body, its proprietor, the super soul as the friend. How such vision how such vision is possible? By good association with real knower of the spiritual subjects. So all this information we can get from the Shastra, Gurus and Sadhu Sangha. So one who sees the super soul equally present everywhere in every living being does not degrade himself by his mind. Okay. Thus he approaches the transcendental destination. So that's very difficult, isn't it? So the same thing we studied in chapter 4. So if we can correlate. So what is that verse? Anyone remembers? So he says, right, Pandita Samadarshini. So you all recollect that particular verse? So wherein he sees the elephant, he sees the dog eater, everything as the same, isn't it? So that's the thing. Actual seer does not degrade himself. So that verse is what? Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Gavi Hastine Sunicheva Sapakecha Pandita Samadarshina. So actual seer does not degrade himself by pursuing selfish desires of the mind. Okay. So this is again, so the qualities, right? So we can here and also we can actually look at the jnanam also, isn't it? So in there are so many qualities, right? So this is also one of them, isn't it? So we should not actually anchor for material things, isn't it? Does not degrade himself by pursuing selfish desires of the mind. Okay, so which are materialistic, isn't it? What is the current situation of the living entity? One has situated himself differently than in the spiritual mind world. What is the role of mind? When mind turns to the super soul, one becomes advanced. Then one approaches transcendental destination. So this is very important, right? So even Arjuna says, right? Chanchalam himana Krishna. So mind is generally addicted to sense gratification, which binds the living entity in this material world. Say the moment we give a little bit gap, isn't it? So even if you look at I have this experience a lot of time, isn't it? So while doing japa also, right? So might be you might start so early in the morning. You start with so much of conviction, isn't it? So, and then things pass by. So at any time, actually, you are diverted by something. Okay, either by your mind or some external thing. Okay. So for example, if the bell rings, isn't it? And at your home, if the bell rings, right? So then we'll actually get distracted. Who has come at this time? Who is he? Is a delivery guy. And then if you look in, right, by thinking and actually once that diversion comes in, right? So by then, I think at least one mala will get spoiled again to bring back the mind. So I think Maya is very, very, very difficult actually. So to actually control. So unless we have a different thought process, right? Maya can take us. So it's like our mobile only, right? So everyone starts looking at the mobile, thinking that okay, so I'll only browse for one thing. Okay, and then when they start browsing, okay, so this is there. So then they go to some other web page, this page, that page, and then the actual work is only for 2 minutes. Okay, but what happens is you eventually end up at least 20 minutes. 10 times you'll waste. You'll never know. So where did the time went off? So it is like that only. Yeah. One who can see that all activities are performed by the body, which is created of material nature, and sees that the self does nothing, actually sees. Okay. So we should know, right? So all these things which we are doing in, right? So is so this is basically this is our body is like a machine. Okay. And then the driver is the super soul. Okay. The soul. Okay. And then is getting instruction from whom? The super soul. So nothing happens in this body. Okay. So we might be thinking that say everything is being done by myself, but it's not. Yeah. So everything has to be sanctioned. Okay. So when a sensible man ceases to see different identities due to different material bodies, and he sees how the beings are expanded everywhere, he attends to Brahman. Okay. So this is 30. The self does nothing. All activities are performed by the body, which is created of material nature. So when one attains Brahman conception, one is purified consciousness can thus develop Krishna consciousness. Ceases to see different identities due to different material bodies. Okay, so you should not see different things in different bodies. Okay. He sees how beings are expanded everywhere. Okay. Those whose vision of eternity can see that the imperishable soul is transcendental. Okay. So the soul is imperishable and transcendental, eternal and beyond the modes of nature. Despite contact with material body, O Arjuna, the soul neither does anything nor is entangled. Okay. The sky, due to its subtle nature, does not mix with anything, although it is all pervading. Similarly, the soul situated in Brahman vision does not mix with body, though situated in the body. So here the example of the you can take the example of air. So air mixes with everything, isn't it? So but so it mixes in the water, so it is there everywhere, right? So but you see, it has its own existence, isn't it? So similarly, the soul is situated in this body, but it is not impacted. Okay. So it does not mix up with the body. So as the sun illuminates all this universe, so does the living entity. One with the body illuminate the entire body by consciousness. What is that? The soul is only the one which illuminates us, isn't it? If there is no soul, there is no consciousness. So one who knowingly sees this difference between the body and the owner of the body and can understand the process of liberation from this his bondage also attains the goal to the supreme. Okay. So this is seeing the knowledge of eyes is jnana chakshu is what. So seeing the difference between the body and the knower of the body, the process of liberation of bondage in material nature. So if we know these things, right, so one attains the supreme goal. Okay. So basically, this is the last verse of this particular chapter, right? It gives the whole summary. Okay. So the whole chapter's summary is here. Okay. One should know the distinction between the body, owner, and super soul, and then recognize the process of liberation, right? Then one can go to the supreme destination. So faithful person should have some good association, hearing in good association. So how does this process work? Okay, accept a spiritual master, know the difference between body and matter as stepping stone for further realization. Okay, analyze the body with 24 elements, then analyze soul and super soul as separate. Okay. So conclusion and suggestion, these things are meant for contemplation and for realization. Have a complete understanding of this chapter with the help of the spiritual master. So the actual thing is here. So if we understand, right, the whole chapter, Prabhupada actually writes it very nicely in the purpose. If you read in, right, so it's all revolving around this only. Okay. So Hare Krishna Matajis, I know this is a little bit technical. So if you read through, right, so once or twice, so you'll slowly understand. But have this picture, right? So the basic picture is this one. Okay. And then, so everything, so the details are being given in this chapter. So this is all knowledge, isn't it? So this knowledge is never taught in our school. So this becomes a little bit difficult to understand at once. Okay. So Hare Krishna Matajis, any doubt anywhere in today's topic?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. No doubts as such.
Yeah.
But
So
thank
either you have understood fully or you have not understood anything. So
it will take time, Prabhuji. We are going through purpose in BB classes.
uh,
Still,
yeah,
like, we are in chapter 4 only right now.
yeah. I think once you go through all these things, we'll have to read Mataji. So for these things, right? So
Yes, Prabhuji.
start the habit of reading. And so Prabhupada has taken a lot of time to write the purpose. And so at least we'll have to read to understand properly, right? We'll have to read 3 times each purport. Then only we'll be able to read. So if you read like a storybook, right? So we'll not be able to grasp it. So you'll understand, but the thing is, we are not that elevated. So for us, right? If we repeat, then we'll understand. So that's our kind of nature which we have in, right? So it may not be with everyone, but at least for me, it is like that.
Yes,
Okay.
we're trying
Har-
for that only.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Vancha kalpatarobhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavyo namo namah. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Thank
Thank you,
you.
Prabhuji.